Zombie Girl. What was the inspiration for that, by the way?
That's a good question.
Because Christina obviously is not a zombie girl.
Well, sometimes.
You're not even
Especially around
a
Halloween.
valley girl. Come on.
No, I'm not.
Sometimes you write a riff on the guitar and like words will just pop into your head. And that was like one of them. I don't know where Zombie Girl came
Well,
from.
also we really love those old sci-fi movies and anything, and we love zombie movies too.
That's
so
true.
you know.
That's what I was wondering.
Yeah.
I guess the next people I have to have on is the Mission Creeps, who are really into that stuff. I mentioned also at the beginning of the program that it was music and musicians who are really bringing people downtown to 4th Avenue and to Congress Street, and I think that more than anything else, and the restaurants are bringing people downtown. And you told me when we first started talking at some of your concerts a while back that one of the things that brought you here was the venues and the opportunity to get out there. Talk a little bit about that from your perspective and how important that is and what it means in terms of the downtown scene here.
Well, like you said, we were definitely inspired so much when we first started visiting here. We were really lucky because we came here because a really good friend of ours, Michael P. Nordberg, who is like the mayor of Tucson,
El Camino Royale.
Right. We were friends in New York, and he moved back to Tucson and invited us over to visit. And, you know, since he's a musician, we were meeting all these musicians. And not only were we really impressed by how talented and diverse and eclectic these people were, but they were also really nice. You know, like they weren't jerks or you know, hipsters or anything like that. So, so it was very attractive for us after living in New York and LA. And so we just, you know, came here, and it has been really impressive ever since we've been here. It just seems to be more and more things happening musically and artistically around town. And it makes us definitely want to hang out and go to Second Saturdays and all that.
Do you find it, I mean, obviously making music is not the only thing you do. You're not living and dying on gigs at Plush and The Hut and places like that. You have your business, and you work for USC, correct?
Right.
Online. So there is the other, you know, and I think most of the musicians here are doing that in one degree or another. Having said that, though, in terms of getting regular work as a musician, are there more opportunities here, especially again because of the cluster that seems to be building?
I think so. There's definitely more opportunity. It seems like restaurants will have music. There's way more clubs in a smaller area than a lot of cities, I think. And you're able to play almost every week if you want to, it seems like. And there's enough events happening, like the Second Saturdays and different...
Club Crawl.
Club Crawl, another
Huge,
one.
yeah.
Yeah, Club Crawl, the last Club Crawl was absolutely huge. I think it was one of the best attended that I've seen, and that may have had something to do with the fact that the U of A football game was out of town. But there was also another big event that night, the Beer Fest.
Oh.
And so there was an awful lot of people that were out, but Club Crawl was absolutely, you're right, it just filled the streets. And again, in terms of these venues, some of them you're closer to the audience than other. How would you describe the audiences here compared to New York and the LA area?
You know, you just get a feeling of them being involved in the music and being really into music. I mean, we know so many people who have jobs, have families, and are dedicated to, you know, taking that extra time and energy to go out and see live music instead of just staying at home. And so that kind of energy is great. You know, a lot of times you go in the big cities and people are, you know, doing that thing of just standing there, you know, impress me, you know, kind of thing. And here it's like people are so much more open and giving as an audience. Yeah.
You're obviously familiar with the controversy over downtown and what it's going to take to get it going someplace. You live downtown for all intents and purposes. What do you like best about Tucson's downtown as it is right now?
It's bikeable from where we live.
That's right.
You can walk from place to place. Everything has a certain kind of coolness to it, like a funkiness.
Love that. And there's also, you know, things that I was surprised to find in a smaller city. yoga studios, alternative energy companies, the cafes, and I think there's obviously room for more of those. I think they should definitely focus on more creative, interesting things instead of more corporate
Do you
things.
think from a community perspective there is the level of support necessary to make arts and cultural successful? Because arts and cultural does an awful lot to drive an economy. There's an economic aspect to it. I mean, you guys are living work here, you're paying taxes here, you sell a product here. But it takes a certain amount of support. Government to some extent, private sector. Is all the support here that perhaps could be from your perspective?
I think so. I think it's a really supportive community in the sense that if there's an event happening, you see a lot of the same faces and a lot of people out there to help out. A lot of people making stuff just like me, building things. So you see it going on, that there's a big support in the community. So it's only gotten better since we've been here. It's really blossomed, I think.
But it should definitely be encouraged, I
But
think.
by way of wrapping things up, what would make it even better?
Oh gosh, that's a hard question. But I guess just, trying to get more, making things more accessible, making things less expensive for artists, trying not to push artists out in favor of maybe more commercial corporate things.
I think national recognition also. Like, I think the music scene here is as good as any place that we've been. And I think it's going to be one of those things where it could be like the next Seattle if someone gets a hold of it, or one of those.
Austin.
It's not a bad place to be, actually, when it comes to being to music.
Because you think, foot by foot, this place has more great musicians than any place I've seen. Like, in people that play just really varied stuff. Like, they could be a drummer and a horn player and a keyboard player all in one.
Or a Jupiter 3.
Or yeah.
We're out of time. Thank you very much for being with
Thanks,
us.
Bob.
Appreciate it. As you guys know, I enjoy the music that you're making. I know you're working on some new stuff, and I'm looking forward to that. And Take a Ride with the Modeens is available for download from iTunes, Amazon.com, and as you say on your website, all sorts of places. Thanks again for being with us. We'll see you at the next gig.
Thank you.
The Modeens. And that's our show for today. I'm Bob Lee. Have a safe week ahead. Remember, if you're in a motor vehicle, please buckle up for safety. If you're driving it, signal before you change lanes or turn corners. Always buckle up for safety and be on the lookout for motorcycles and bicyclists. One of them might be Jamie. See you next week.